All right, how's everybody doing? Woo, awesome. So thank you guys very much for coming to my lightning talk. I'm going to talk to you guys a little bit about heat stacks. So when people think about OpenStack, a lot of times they think, oh, you know, it's a scary, big environment, it's complex, it's hard to use, things like that. How am I going to be able to leverage this in my business to make sure that my life as an operations guy, as an admin, is made easier, right? How am I going to make my line of business actually deploy these workloads? You know, they're not tech people. They're not smart enough to know, all right, I got to set up the network this way. I've got to add this many vCPUs in there. This needs to be using this much amount of RAM. So what do? Well, that's where heat comes in. So what is a heat stack? Simply put, a heat stack is a group of instances that have been deployed by using a heat template. But you're probably asking me, well, Sean, what's a heat template? Heat template is a set of instructions to deploy a fully configured workload in OpenStack. Essentially what it is hardware defined by code. So what you're going to be looking at is you're going to be taking these templates, and I'm going to be showing you a few screenshots here coming up of using heat templates in SUSE OpenStack Cloud, where you're going to be able to look at each workload that you're deploying, and you're going to be able to create a set of instructions for OpenStack to use to get these done and deployed by literally just using a couple of clicks. So easy, your grandmother could do it. So first, what's a heat template? Well, here is a heat template. It's a file that's coded in YAML. It's very human readable, very easy to look at, very easy to understand. And this is exactly what you're going to be looking at when you're looking to deploy a heat template. So in this case here, you can see we've got the description and some of the parameters. This is to actually deploy a fully working WordPress with a database on it. So you'll see that our WordPress volume size is actually set up there. You know, we've got a default size on there. We've got the resources that it's going to be using, and all of this can be set up by hand to really look at and to answer the needs of different workloads that your line of business is going to be using. So by default, a lot of templates are available in OpenStack for you to use as a base, but we don't offer any that are pre-built. Again, the reason for this is because each workload is different. How you're using each workload is going to be very unique to how your line of business is using it and how they need to get things deployed and how quickly. So you do have to take the time to go through it and to put in the parameters that are important for the workload. So let's say you've gone through everything, you've gotten your heat template all set up and good to go. Awesome. So how are they going to use it? Well, there's a couple of ways to use it. You can actually either offer it to them as a local file, so you can say, all right, you know what, you guys in the media department, that you're going to be using these WordPress instances. You know what, here is a folder that's got the YAML profile in there. This is what you're going to be using. We've created one. This is what you use. You don't have access to anything else. You're removing a lot of the moving parts. You're making it simple so that even they can't mess it up. The other choice is that you can actually create a URL for it. So let's say you're using, I'm going to be talking from a SUSE guy. Let's say using SUSE Linux Enterprise Server, and you've got an internal website that's set up for your workloads for your customers, and you've got this YAML file that's actually served up. You can give them a URL that will be actually readable from your OpenStack deployment. That is actually just going to bring all that in, and you'll be able to deploy that way. The third part, and that's mostly for when you're actually testing your heat templates, will be to actually do direct input, which is where you would actually be putting in the heat template by hand by either copy pasting the code or just typing it out. This is not really a feasible solution for the line of business, but it's a great way for you guys to actually go ahead and test your heat templates before you make it live to the line of business to use. So now that you've got it all done, you want them to actually deploy a workload, right? So this is what it's going to look like. This, again, is a screenshot from SUSE OpenStack Cloud. You're going to be clicking on orchestration on the left-hand side of the Horizon dashboard, and it's going to bring up this window. There's a button behind there that you can't actually see. I didn't get a screenshot of what happens before you get this, but you would just click Launch Stack, and it would bring up this window. And from there, you would select the template source. This is where you would choose whether it's a file, a URL, or a direct input. In our case, we are using a file, and the person's going to click on Choose File. They would have access to the file that they want. And then they would go to the Launch Stack window. This is where they put in the very, very basic information. Again, this is stuff that your grandmother could do. All she needs to do is put in a stack name. In our case, we're actually deploying something called ED-demo, and then put in the password. Now, you're probably asking, well, why do you have a password? Quite simply put, because you don't want anybody to deploy any heat stack they want, right? And in the way that we've got the heat templates and the heat stacks implemented into Openstack Cloud is that you actually have to add your users to the heat users or heat admin groups or projects. Once they're in there, then they just have to put in their password, and once they do that, it actually starts working. All the stuff that's required to get that workload working is actually happening right under the hood. They're not going to see anything of it, but if you were to want to actually see what's happening under there, you could just click on the stack name, and you would pick up this nice little wibbly wobbly, no timey-wimey, but wibbly wobbly kind of spider web type of setup where you would see some green circles and some gray circles. The green circles are the ones that are actually completed already. They're up, they're running. The gray ones are the ones that are about to be set up and deployed. So in this case, you can see that there's a hard disk in the bottom there that is done. We've got the networking, which is that connector. We've got the shield up there. Those are already working, and if this was a live demo, or if I had a video up there, you would see the gray ones actually flash. While that's doing, you can actually go and you can drill down into the resources. You can actually look at what's actually being deployed. So using that heat template, which is really essentially just deploying a WordPress and a database, all of this stuff is actually being set up because it's actually defined within the heat template. So all this is happening in the back, stuff that generally the line business would not be able to do, and it's being done automatically. And as it keeps going, everything ends up turning green, and that's it. That workload is completely deployed. It's as simple as that. OpenStack does not need to be scary. OpenStack does not need to be difficult. When you have a properly set up and configured OpenStack environment, you can really offload a lot of the menial tasks over to the line of business, to the non-technical people, by just telling them, hey, you click this. It takes a 5-minute training session to show them how to deploy it, and your life is made easier. So this was a really, really short lightning talk, because that's how easy it really is. So I'm going to leave the rest of the time I've got, which is about 2 minutes, if you guys have any questions. So easy, not even a question, right? Awesome. Well, hey, thank you guys very, very much. My name is Sean Rickard. I'm the Senior Sales Engineer for SUSE here in Canada. Please come and visit us at the booth. We are giving away lots and lots of cool prizes, including a harbor seaplane tour. We've got a grand prize that we're going to be doing on Thursday, which is a trip to Nashville, Tennessee for SUSECon. So come and check us out. Come and talk to us. We've got loads of really cool little prizes, and I'd love to talk to you guys more. Thank you very much.